Go go Power Rangers! You mighty Morphin Power Rangers! Yes! True story about the original 1995 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. I was about 8 years old when it came out, and I went to see it twice in the cinema, because that was how into it I was. One of those times was with my father up in London. It was me, it was him, and it was one other guy in the cinema. It is the most empty I've ever been in a cinema with. One other guy. I half expected to be that one other guy in the cinema when I went to see his film. Turns out I wasn't. There were loads of other people there just as nostalgic as me. So, what do you know? Quick warning guys, this video might get into spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the film, go away, watch it, come back, then watch this video. But if you don't care about spoilers for a Power Rangers movie, carry on watching and we'll get into it. So now we have a brand new Power Rangers movie. Well, it's not even a remake, it's a reboot of the 90s kids series that was a slice of multicolored 90s cheese wrapped up in a kind of moralistic storyline that was lifted from a Japanese series called Super Sentai. They basically had all of the Japanese fight sequences cut in with the American actors doing their part into one amalgamation of capturing 90s plaid and rock and roll and gung-ho and it's Morphin time! And in this film we see a restart, almost, of the Power Rangers storyline. 5 teenagers get chosen to be the new generation of Power Rangers by Zordon, played by Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston's actually linked to the original series. Little interesting fact for you there. To protect the world from Rita Repulsa, played by Elizabeth Banks here. And she is after the Zeo Crystal, which has the potential to make or break planets. So the entire world is actually in jeopardy this time, rather than Rita making a monster to attack the Power Rangers to, with any luck, hopefully destroy them and maybe stand a chance of taking over the world, if that even succeeds. Okay, some facts about the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie in 1995. That was made on a budget of $15 million. Not that you would know it. It looked like they kind of ran out of money right at the end. It was like, action, 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 action. CGI that was like the worst video game of the century. Like, hey, can we have some more money to finish this film with? Well, what film are you making? It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie? No. It actually would have been better if they had had the guys in the suits. But the film grossed $66.4 million. So not a complete loss for them there. They probably actually considered that a win. And their opening weekend was $13.4 million. So they actually nearly made back what they spent on the film in the opening weekend. This new Power Rangers movie had a budget of $100 million. They gave someone $100 million to make a Power Rangers movie. Not only someone, Lionsgate Pictures, the same people that made Pacific Rim. So when I heard a couple of years ago that they were giving this production company the money to make a Power Rangers movie, I was like, well, that's great, but we already have a Power Rangers movie. It came out already. It's called Pacific Rim. Anyone that saw Pacific Rim knew that that was a Power Rangers movie. All it was missing was, it's Morphin time. It had giant robots. It had giant aliens. It had people in matching suits. That's a Power Rangers movie. But we have a new Power Rangers movie now. It's out and it is attempting to create a more serious version of the events of Power Rangers. As suspected from the trailers, this film plays out very much like The Breakfast Club, with a bit of Power Rangers chucked in there at some points. The premise of the 5 people that get chosen for this Power Rangers movie isn't necessarily that they all already know how to fight, or they all already know each other. It's that they kind of get thrown together and they have to learn about each other, and they're kind of forced to become friends. They're kind of forced to bond over the fact that they now have to be superheroes. Billy, the Blue Ranger, is autistic. Trini, the Yellow Ranger, is gay and kind of having an identity crisis. Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, was kind of involved in some dubious photo sharing incident. They all have their own problems going on, which they have to deal with in order to move on and learn more about each other and bond to become Power Rangers. There is a lot of personal growth development, much like in The Breakfast Club. There's a lot of personality happening, there's a lot of character happening. In fact, it's so much to the extent that I felt like the 1995 Power Rangers movie only had 45 minutes total of them actually being Power Rangers, kind of at the start and right at the end. It still had more actual Power Rangers. In this film, there's 20 minutes to half an hour of them finally getting to be Power Rangers right at the end. Now, that 20 to 30 minutes is worth it because that's what you've wanted to see, and it has everything in there that you want to see. It's got the costumes, it's got the Zords, it's got the fighting, it's got what you want out of it. But it takes a while to get to that point. There has to be a lot of personal development first. Now, that's kind of understandable that they want to do this in this film. The series had 100-odd episodes to build up character, to build up backstory, to build up personal development. This has 2 hours to do that and be a Power Rangers movie. So it's a hard balance to get. But the personalities they include in the film aren't just there for the sake of being politically correct. They're there in a sense to draw kids' attention to the fact that there might be people at their school that are like this, that are experiencing this, that might be dealing with autism, that might be dealing with identity crises. And perhaps they should be more understanding of that, if that makes sense. Like, it's being a lot more inclusive, not for the sake of being inclusive, but for the sake of sending a message out to the kids that are watching this. There was a lot more origins in the film of the characters that don't really get that much of a backstory in the series. So you get a little bit of backstory for Zordon and the fact that he was part of the original team of Power Rangers that came to Earth to stop Rita. And Rita, as suspected from some of the rumours that were going around online of analysing pictures and everything like that, Rita in this was originally part of the Power Rangers. She has her own coin, which is the green coin. So she draws her power from that, but she sold out the other Rangers and turned against them for more power. If you're going to invite someone onto your team with a name like Rita Repulsa, you might want to do a background check first. I don't mean to be profiling, but come on, Rita Repulsa, I kind of should start ringing alarm bells. So I did enjoy that there was a little bit more origin story to them. And Bryan Cranston as Zordon was actually really good, but I've got to say, Zordon in this film was a little bit of a dick. If the original Zordon in the series was Mr. Miyagi, this version of Zordon is like the guy that ran the Cobra Kai gym. There is no failure in this gym! You will become Power Rangers! You will be the best! He forces them to, like, keep training, like, otherwise they're not gonna get it. But you can kind of understand, like, he's desperate. He needs them to be the best. But he's going about it in all the wrong way. He's Zordonberg. Heisenberg Zordon. It's very much a part that he can play well, so I get that. One thing I did miss from this film was there was no Ranger morphing roll call. Like, when they morph, it just kind of happens, and then that's it. They stay as Power Rangers until the end of the film. They kind of save all of the Power Rangers centric stuff as the climax till right at the end. And yeah, it's great because it keeps you hanging on for it, but at the same time, throughout the film, you're kind of just like, I want to see people kick things. And the Megazord at the end, just whacking Rita into outer space. I half expected her to, when the Megazord just backhanded her, at the end, I kind of half expected Ree to just kind of keep flying out into outer space and land on the moon and then make her castle there, and then that's how she gets onto the moon with her little moon castle base. We don't know that that isn't going to happen for the next one, so maybe that's how she ends up on the moon. I don't know. And also, the post-credits scene, which as soon as I found out what the main plot for this film was, that it was centering around the original 5, I called straight away, and I should have bet all of the gold in Russia that the post-credit scene would involve some mention of Tommy Oliver, who turns out to be the Green Ranger. And that's where the sequel will probably head. If they make one, I'm certain that they will make a second one by this point. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles got a second movie, so why won't Power Rangers? Guys, in the end, Power Rangers was actually an enjoyable experience. It took a little bit of time to get going, but it ultimately paid off at the end with everything that you want to see. So I'm giving Power Rangers 3 out of 5 stars. And I think 3 out of 5 stars is fair enough, because even though the film took a little bit of time to get going, it did have a lot of nostalgia value for me. My inner child did enjoy sitting there watching a Power Rangers movie as a fully grown adult, so that's a little bit of nostalgia value. As always, you can check out my written review for this on letterboxd.com. That's letterboxd.com. I usually go into some other details that I don't go into in this video in my written reviews, so you can check that out as well. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see some more, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, let us know in the comments what else you'd like to see, and until that point, I will see you next time. It's morphin' time! Tyrannosaurus! Come on, we're all thinking it. Why wouldn't you?